If you're looking for love, don't get married. Go home to your mother.
And even she won't unconditionally love you.
And if she doesn't love you, then you got other problems, which marriage is not going to make up for. If you're looking for love, you're not ready to be married. So again, you're not looking for a trophy beauty or the richest guy in town or the most popular guy in town. Those people are usually not good spouses. You're looking for someone who you're comfortable. Looks are good. Most beautiful? You know, they have these articles in magazines. The 10 most beautiful women in the world. You don't know all the women in the world. Stop lying. Of all the women, you know, these are the 10. How many do you know out of the 4 billion women? What kind of statement is that? Now, here's a really serious problem. Criminal problem. The average woman in a marriage, she's married, let's say, 25 years. The husband comes home and says, we just hired a new secretary. All the warning buzzers go off. She's panicking. She's freaking out. What, why? What does she look like? Are you threatened by a 20-year-old secretary? You're 50. How do you live like this? How does the average wife, after 20 years of marriage, how do you live? How do you function? How do you survive the anxiety every time he walks out of the door?
If she gets a secretary. No, that's a bad one.
Then how does she survive his anger? Literally survive. But really, it's cruel and unusual punishment to be a wife. Why? He married her for her looks. Well, she doesn't have those looks. Her fears are well-founded. So the question is, what's the alternative? How can you have a woman who is married for 25 years and the husband hires a new secretary and she is not threatened or worried at all? Why? Because her husband's a tzaddik? Because they didn't marry for anything, so she's not threatened by another woman who has things. Whatever that thing might be. So the Mishnah says, a ahava that is dependent on something will not last. An ahava that is not dependent on anything will last. What are these things that the love should not be dependent on? Anything, including love. When love becomes a thing, it will kill the marriage. I noticed this, I mean, maybe 10 years ago, doing marriage counseling. All of a sudden, I noticed something new. A woman is married. She has really no complaints against her husband. He's good. They get along. It's fine. No problem. Her problem is she feels completely alone in the world. And it's terrible. How can you feel alone? You're married. They're married with things. They're not married to each other.
Mm-hmm. And this is a newer problem? So why do you think that is?
Because we've become so materialistic and we no longer marry each other. We marry stuff.
So how does someone avoid that then? Right? So how does someone become the 50-year-old woman who's totally confident and secure in the bond?
Because they really got married to each other. And I think that was the secret. Our grandparents married each other. Did they have things in common? Mm-mm. Did they agree on things? Mm-mm. So the children growing up in a more materialistic generation, So why don't you just get divorced? You're always arguing. You can't agree on anything. This is horrible. Just get divorced. And they say, are you crazy? Live without him? You can disagree on things endlessly. It doesn't matter. It's just a thing. You have each other. You're not going to give that up. In modern marriages, we don't have each other. We have things. Not enough to keep us together.
So I'm trying to grasp what you mean by each other. You mean like the person, not the personality. That's a thing?
No, so this guy who said, I love everything about my wife. I said, but do you love her? He says, I love everything about her. It's not about her. Her. Do you love her? He says, what does that mean? What does that mean? Take all things away. What's left? That's pretty sad.
So like personality
Is
would
personality part of the person?
Oh, Superman from the movies.
Sure.
Had an accident.
Right.
Yeah, he fell off a horse. And he was paralyzed.
What?
What was his name? George Reeves? Reeves? Something. Anyway, he fell off a horse. He was like a magnificent specimen of a man. Yeah? But he fell off a horse and he was paralyzed from his neck down. His wife took care of him until he passed away. When he passed away, she was hysterical. Imagine asking her, what are you hysterical about? For the last 10 years, he's been useless. What did he do for you in the last 10 years? Nothing. What did he give you in the last 10? Nothing. So what are you carrying on about? And of course, our answer would be, I had him and now I don't have him. Yeah, but did he take out the garbage? Did he take you on vacation? I was married to him and now I don't have him. So what is this him? Right?
Right.
Yeah, psychologically. What is this desperate yearning that most people have to be accepted for who they are? Why can't you accept me for who I am? You know why? Because I have no idea who you am. And neither do you. Okay, tell me who you am and I will accept you as you am. Don't know what to say. Just accept me as I am. What do you mean by that? I think the meaning is accept me as being different from you. Why can't you accept the fact that I'm not you? So everything we share in common, that you can accept because that's part of you. But the part of me that is not you, you can't tolerate. That means you don't want me. Look, somebody's husband is out of town. And she says, he's been out of town for a week. I really miss him. Well, what do you miss about him? Miss something about him? He's out of town, so I miss him. So we do know what it is, except that as soon as he gets back into town, it immediately becomes something. Okay, now do something. Now do this. Now do that. But it's him or her. Look, the whole purpose of getting married is because it's not good to be alone. If you're married to your clone, you're still alone. If you're married to someone who's exactly like you, you're still alone. There's no one else. What does it mean to have some other in your life? Someone who doesn't think like you and doesn't feel like you. Oh, that I can't tolerate. Okay, you're a narcissist. You can't tolerate an other. So whoever comes into your life has to transform into you, an extension of you. That's not a marriage.
Right, or I'm thinking a parent to kids. I think that's pretty common. Right, people want their kids to be extensions of them.
So if you want to get a little mystical, when God said it is not good to be alone, he was describing himself. He was saying, I'm creating you because it's not good to be alone. And since you're alone, I'm going to create for you a wife. But he was really describing himself. Before God created Adam, he was alone. God was alone. He had already created the angels. Angels are just more of him, not an other. So in order for God to have an other, he has to give us free choice. Obviously, we don't have free choice. We're just more of him.
I like that.
So what does God love most about us? That we can sin. That we can disagree with him. That we can hate him. That's the other thing about love. You can't love chocolate. You can't love a tree. Love means to love someone who can love you back. You can enjoy a tree. A tree can give you great pleasure. It's not love. You love chocolate? No. You enjoy chocolate. It's a different sensation. It's a different experience.
So should we change our language?
We should understand what we're saying.
Yeah.
And the language will change accordingly. On the other hand, you can't really love your dog because the dog does love you back, but he can't help it.
Right.
The dog is programmed to love you back. If it's love, it's loyalty, which may be one of the 5 love languages. Okay, we can put a little stretch of the imagination. You can call it love. But it's not, you love someone who could love you back, not who must love you back. So in both extremes, if he can't love you back, then you can't love him. And if he has to love you back, then you can't love him. Love means I love a person who could love me or hate me. When he loves me, it's better. Hates me, not so good. But that's who you love, someone who could love you back. That's what God created. He gave us a Yetzer Hara and a Yetzer Tov.
So now I think I understand what you meant by unconditional love is no good. Is this what you mean? Because it means you have to love.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. So when do you think someone shouldn't be married? Like, where is that?
If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic, and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there's a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it. These ideas, these messages, this approach to life, this approach to Torah, to meaning, and to morals is vital for the world today. And we need to get this message out to the entire world. It is universal, it's essential, it's indispensable. To support this effort, if you want to be a partner in this crime, check out the link and make a donation. It really helps a lot. And thank you in advance.